Jewelry design is a life lived with wearable art. My name is Warren Feld, and I'm here to share some of my jewelry designing experiences and insights with you about all aspects of bead stringing. Lots of good stuff, and I'm excited, and I know you are too. In this video tutorial, I'm going to cover a lot of material about stringing beads and making necklaces and bracelets. I'll go into depth about choosing stringing materials and the pros and cons of each type, choosing clasps and the pros and cons of different clasps. I'm going to go into all about different jewelry findings and how you use them. And I'm going to discuss a lot all throughout about architectural considerations and how to build these into your pieces. On our bead stringing journey, I will teach you several different bead stringing techniques. In particular, you will learn how better designers use cable wires and crimp, how designers use needle and thread to string beads, how best to make stretchy bracelets, how to make adjustable slip knots, coiled wire loops, and silk wraps, and how to finish off the ends of thicker cords or ropes so that you can attach a clasp. And last, how to construct such projects as eyeglass leashes, mass chains, lariats, multi-strand pieces, and twist multi-strand pieces. Most people begin their jewelry making hobby or career by stringing beads. Stringing beads on cord is not difficult, but it does require a thorough understanding of the pros and cons of the various parts and string materials you will use. As a bead stringer, you want your jewelry to be beautiful and appealing. Yes, you want your jewelry to look good. And also you want your jewelry to be satisfying to the person who wears it. It must be comfortable, it must drape well, it must move well. You want your jewelry to reflect the purposes your customer wants to wear it in the first place. And also you want the jewelry to be appropriate to the context within which it is worn. And last, of course, you want your jewelry to be durable over time. There are two important choices you will make up front, and these are the most important choices you will need to make because these will impact the beauty and the functionality of the piece the most. These two choices are 1, your choice of clasp, and 2, your choice of stringing material. As a bead stringer, with each piece, you often have to make choices between often conflicting goals to get the best outcome. For example, to create the most beautiful piece, you might have to sacrifice some functionality, and conversely, to get the most functional piece, you might have to settle for something less appealing. Or another example, a piece might look good when sitting on an easel, but be a disaster when worn, as the stresses and strains of movement or poor construction do not hold up. I can relate to your challenges. Learning bead stringing is more than putting beads on a string and tying on a clasp. Successful designers need to bring a lot of knowledge to bear when creating a piece of jewelry. There's a literacy and fluency and flexibility which is learned over time. Jewelry designers have to know some things about materials, techniques, some art theory and concepts, some architecture and physical mechanics, some sociology and anthropology and psychology, and even some things about party planning. In my explanations about how jewelry is made and the pros and cons of various materials and approaches, I reference these things so that you will have more insights and understandings about jewelry design. This video tutorial takes a comprehensive look at the things you need to know to string beads and make jewelry. I discuss how to choose string materials, choose clasps, make architectural considerations, set up your workspace, select tools, materials, adhesives, and other supplies you want to have on hand, how to organize the overall design process. I go over things like using different types of jewelry findings, crimping the way better designers do, using needle and thread for stringing, and using elastic string to make stretchy bracelets. I also go over making simple and coiled wire loops, attaching end pieces to thicker cords, how to make simple and fancy slip knots, making a silk wrap, and projects like making an eyeglass leash, mask chain, lariat, multi-strand piece, and a twist multi-strand piece. I go step by step. There will be some videos where I demonstrate implementing the steps. There are exercises and handouts for you to work on. In addition, I discuss the 3 different approaches for teaching bead stringing and jewelry making, and I review 2 cognitive psychological phenomena particularly useful to know when stringing beads. Each section of the tutorial has a detailed tools and materials supply list you will need for completing that section. In general, some of the more important tools to have on hand: chain nose pliers, round nose pliers, flat nose pliers. You'll need a side cutters or flush cutters, crimping pliers, an awl, scissors. You'll need a ruler, a bead board, a bracelet sizing cone, a work surface, some adhesives like Beacon 527 or E6000, size number 10 English beading needles. You'll need paper, pen, and pencil. In general, some of the more important materials to have on hand, and again these are listed in print files with each section. You'll need a cable wire, a 0.019 inch or 0.018 inch thickness. You'll need some elastic string, 0.7 or 0.8 millimeters. You'll need Nemo or Ceylon beading thread, size D as in dog, in the color black. A fireline cable thread, 6 pound strength, in smoke gray. 1.5 millimeter leather or wax cotton, something in that diameter range, size number 18 or 0.5 millimeter bead cord. 20 gauge craft wire, some crimp beads, some horseshoe wire protectors, some crimp covers. You'll need some end caps with holes at the top and other end caps that have loops at the top. You'll need some crimp ends, cones, jump rings, and soldered rings. It's good to have on hand an assortment of beads, sort of in the 4, 6, and 8 millimeter size range, about 50 to 100 each. You'll need some beeswax. You'll need toggle clasps, at least about 5 sets. And you'll need 2-inch head pins, about 20 head pins. Learning to string beads and make jewelry takes a little work, some understanding of the pros and cons of the materials you'll be using, some understandings about what clasp or string material works best when, some insights into architectural considerations, particularly in building in support or jointedness in your pieces, and some practice. If you haven't done so already, please enroll in this class, and let's get started.